say?
You slave driver. All right, let's go. We got to go live. It's late for them. People waiting.
Yeah, we're live.
Oh, yeah.
You said let's go live. I just clicked the button.
Hey, do you want to record too?
I do. Oh, we were already recording, I guess.
I just. Careful what you ask for.
Why did they shut down every embassy worldwide? Just inform Tom. That's in the chat.
Good job, Rudy.
And hello, everyone. I'm Dan Lutz, and I'm here with...
Thank.
And...
Sometimes Lisa.
Yay! That was a good intro.
We finally got it.
But
now you know what's funny? It'll be like our last show because now that we got that down, it'll fun.
Okay, I'm booting you from the call after that. You're not trying to manifest those things into reality. You know, we're going to be here for at least another couple days.
Okay.
The big boom is
right.
going to happen tomorrow.
Yes.
And while big sirens are... Oh, I got sirens going on, which is unusual for me. Do you hear that?
They're coming for you, Dan. They're coming for you.
Oh, interesting. No, it's definitely a lot of sirens. But I guess it's not picking it up. But that's okay. So we've got a lot going on. So why don't you give a recap of your last show? Because it sounds like you covered quite a lot.
Where do you want to start there? Sometimes Lisa.
How about like someone just mentioned in our chat that's going on here that there was all the embassies are shut down. So what is that?
I don't know all, but go ahead, Tim.
I'll give you my 4 bullet points that stand out to me. So the Federal Reserve lowered rates again. It was about a year ago at this time, right now, that the Federal Reserve came out very boldly, ignorantly, announcing that they were going to raise rates every month, for a year. And it was about the same exact time, right before they said that that Kim said that we actually announced it in the Speak Project and said the charter for the Federal Reserve and the license for that is revoked. There is no more Federal Reserve. It does not exist. They have no license to hold money. So the Federal Reserve can no longer lawfully hold the currency of another country or U.S. dollars for that matter, because they are a foreign agent corporation. So they don't have a banking license at all. And then ever since then, they've now lowered rates 3 or 4 times since then. So I think that's a big deal.
It's a huge deal.
The next thing is, and I think I can click through this real quick to show people. 1 second, let me just pull it up. The next thing is actually the banks going down all over the place, which is very pretty amazing when you think about it.
There were 7 banks that were out down today, Tank. That we know of.
That we know. So let me just share the screen so you guys can see where they were. And all right, so this is Bank of America was down, right? Mm-hmm. And then we have, here's the outage map. The U.S. Bank was down in these spots. Mm-hmm. Then Chase Bank was down. Citibank was down. And also Capital One, SunTrust, and what is it, BB&T?
Yeah.
Down.
I don't know what bank that is.
We're all down today.
So those banks went down. And what's interesting about every one of those banks is that over the past 2 years that I have had interactions with every one of those banks, because we launched, about 100 people around the country to set up offices for Create Change. They all had a contract to transfer in $1 million from the Man of World Holding Trust to set up an office for Create Change so that we could distribute project money for funds. And lo and behold, all those same banks went down today. So coincidence? Maybe, but I don't know.
I think not.
I think not. But now in other news, I think this is also fascinating that all of the Israeli embassies were temporarily closed. And Lisa, what was the reason again?
They're saying because they went on strike because they're not paying them enough. That's the original. That's the official reason.
Well, I could make a racially charged joke about that, but we'll just let it slide.
Yeah, I would definitely not do that. So, and then there was one other thing in that world that happened, but we were talking about those things.
And we talked about how our Comedy Congress, we kind of talked about how 89, this was an article from January of this year, that 89 of our Congress actually have dual citizenship in Israel. And Tank explained why that was. Israel was, why they chose that country. And so I think that, I'm going to read you actually something I just have on my screen. Lebanon banks closed / bankrupt. All Israeli embassies around the world are closed. All flights canceled to revolutionary countries. That still needs to be confirmed, it says. Nigeria border closed. Prime Minister of Iraq and Lebanon have both resigned. So that's just on one.
Wow, the Prime Minister of Lebanon and Iraq. I was amazed by it earlier, and you just said it again. I'm still amazed by it.
Simultaneously?
That's all in one meme. That's just one meme. We have lots today, but that was just one. It's crazy, right?
Where's the memes? Send the memes.
I'll send you that.
Is it Prime Minister Abadi? Is that his name?
I think so.
Wow.
I think so.
You know what? Now it's interesting because from what I remember in the RV world, Abadi was the guy who was going to bring in the RV. So if he had the revelation that there's not going to be an RV, maybe resign because of it.
Yeah, or if not, they're going to shoot him, right? I mean,
wow, yeah.
They're not going to be very happy with him. There's a lot of stuff going on with Iraq and Iran and their dollars and all kinds of stuff, like just so much today. And then, so I sent you that, Dan. So that was one meme in itself. There's another one. This is crazy. How would 2 senior U.S. Congress members explain their fingerprints on mugs inside the Syrian compound? They snuck in during ceasefire, drank, dealed, and left. We pinged in, all done. So it went to Pelosi and Schiff. The gallows are fast. Eroding dignity can be an eternity. Confess. So they want them to confess. So again, that's a meme I got, but pretty serious stuff going on.
I pray to God that last one is true. How amazing would that be if they have, because, now.
Well, I called it.
Deeper,
I called it.
no,
Called
no,
what? What did he call? I missed it.
he said the Dan Pelosi and Schiff went over there to.
Yeah, I said it makes the most amount of sense. Why would they be there? What was it? Really? They need to go then? No,
Right.
It was, and I think that was because Nancy and Schiff went to go see him. That's how Trump found out where they actually were.
Well, here's an interesting take on this from another insider report is that I guess the photograph or the video of like President Trump, monitoring to see when al-Baghdadi was killed, that he mirrored the exact setup that Barack Obama did when they killed Osama bin Laden. And he was doing it to let them know, we know exactly what you did, right?
Right.
And then al-Baghdadi has been caught, he's been caught or killed before several times, or never at all, who knows? And then basically, they're saying that, that it was kind of a setup, right? So they set up Pelosi and Schiff, obviously, right? Like you said. And I would imagine, wherever, I can't see the two of them going to a compound, of whatever kind, or whatever it is, the camp where we imagine al-Baghdadi was hanging out, right? It's probably just an acting studio. They probably never even went there, right? They probably just shot the whole thing in, like in Jordan, Alaska or something, right? And like they went in and just pretended, but they were setting up a meeting for whatever clandestine evil plan. And this appears to me like the events that are taking place this week appears to me like Trump's like saying, checkmate, I got you. Like
right.
He's putting out the handshake like what is it, Bobby Fischer? Like, look, you're already beat. You sure you want to keep on with this masquerade? You give him a chance to submit. So.
It's kind of exciting. It's just what's going on today. It's just okay. And so this also says, I think, so Trump's Secretary of Treasury met with Israel's Minister of Finance yesterday. Then suddenly today, Israel temporarily closes every embassy in the world over a minor issue relating to paying expenses of embassy employees. Al-Baghdadi, evidence, ? Iran, Lebanon, Iraq, Israel, ? And Steve Mnuchin had just posted this the day before, had a very productive meeting with Israeli Prime Minister, whatever his name is, I can't pronounce it. We discussed our important bilateral economic relationship and joint efforts to counter terror financing. I think he was contributing to terror financing, but I think he missed that word.
No, well, I have a question though. The name, is it Netanyahu? Because I was told that there's a new prime minister, right? So now think about this. This isn't even on the news. Netanyahu was voted out.
Really?
Right. Oh, that was a while. That was about a month or so ago, I think.
I know, and it still hasn't been on the news. No one's talking about that.
No,
That is big news.
It's Kalon Mashti, Kalkhh. Yeah, it's a different name now. So yes, that's there. And then another one, suspicious. U.S. piggy bank drying up? ? Cash shortage ? Won't pay embassy staff ? Short-term strike. All Israeli embassy workers globally temporarily furloughed. Obviously, this ties to the drop of something big. Is this to protect against a false flag or something about negative news? I don't think it has anything to do with that. I think it's, it's bigger than that. I think it has to do with
Kim shutting off the deep state in Israel, because obviously this is a cluster of evil down there. And it's not about cutting off the Israeli people or the actual people of the Jewish faith, we'll say,
right?
But the Khazarian Zionist mafia, Jewish sect, which has been responsible for starting all these wars, that are really the Baalist, Satanist, Moloch worshipping, pedophile savages, right?
Exactly. So if some of the flights are shut down and embassies are shut down, what happens to these people when they have nowhere to go? And I would assume that if somebody's in question of major treasonous crimes, that they're probably going to stop their passports, right? So they probably can't leave if they wanted to, unless they're somehow in a private jet, which I'm sure they all have access to, right?
And it's really interesting when you think about it that way, right? Because if you look at it, like these embassies were actually, you know, in the control of the shadow side of the Mossad, right? Then, you know, they would be safe points, right? And they probably have underground bases underneath them and all types of things, right?
Right.
Part of the reason, you know, I would imagine even like with President Trump moving the U.S. embassy to Jerusalem, right? Probably to get away from their control. I'm sure it stands true for many of the U.S. embassies.
That would
Right.
make sense.
I didn't even think about that, Tank. That's true.
That's good
Right.
thinking there.
Yeah.
Well, and I know this from talking to Haiti, because down in Haiti, the U.S. embassy, man, nobody goes there because you get killed. It's not a
Right.
safe place for anybody, you know. So, but I think that's very evident, right? There has to be kind of a tearing up of the roots of this old, you know, this old order, and you have to take away what they're standing on. Now, if you cut off the funding for them, right now, Kim said this. We were just talking to regular people, nobody in the government from Haiti, but you know, people that are moving and you know, really doing some good things. But basically, she was saying, tell them to opt out of the climate agreement. And I'm like, they're not really in a position to make that decision, right?
Right.
But if you think about it, this is part of the mandate that Kim has with the trust is to return the funds to the governments, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, a lot of people were critical about that because they're like, oh, the government's where all the corruption is. Well, no, they're not. The governments are the corporation, or I'm sorry, the governments are different than the corporate structures that sit there.
The countries.
Right, the countries themselves, the actual governing, you know, body that should be running it, right? Which is the people. It's just the people that are, you know, in position, or they should be anyway. I'm not saying it's like this exactly, because you can't really tell the difference between the corporations and the governments.
Right.
But right now, isn't it becoming very obvious, at least here? I mean, you're seeing, like, obviously, the shadow government is no longer in the shadows. Now,
Right.
what they're doing is they're just moving freely the way they always have, but now they look like a pack of idiots. Because, like, you don't just get to have a secret meeting in Congress. Like, you're now
In the
on
basement.
display.
Yeah.
Right.
For impeachment.
And they don't have a hierarchy and they don't have a plan, right? And they don't have a president who's covering their ass, right? Everything, and you know, like, and all these people that are, you know, really fervent believers in the republic, right, or the ideology behind the Constitution, you know, they're stepping up and they're, you know, I would imagine that all the source energy that's being released and the energetic shifts that have taken place, like they're inspired to be like, we can take our country back.
Right. Right.
So
Right. And what if we, you know, if we're taking away their ability to travel other than privately, right? And, you know, some of the airports are being shut down and we're blowing up their bunkers, like, where are they going to hide?
I know. You're forcing all the rats out of the sewer, is basically what's happening.
Yeah.
New
like I think you said
Zealand.
earlier that-
New Zealand is the answer.
Why New Zealand?
It's so far away from everything. You know, the farthest way. I mean, it's farther away than the Philippines, right? Because it's from the Philippines, you have to go south and east at a diagonal. If I went down south and west, I would go towards Australia, right? But going out that direction, after that, that's just ocean, right? And then you go to Antarctica. So it's like one stop away from Antarctica. And so you'd have to be like in the Falkland Islands at the bottom of South America to be, you know, as far away from everything, except maybe South America is not safe in what they have planned, right? So they picked an area so far away from everything else that they would be protected, but at the same time, it's still anglicized.
Is that a non-extradition country?
Good question. I don't know.
Okay. It must be. I'm sure it must be based on that, right? If they picked, I think, because I've heard that come up before. Oh, in other news, just to break, the World Series is the top of the ninth, and the Washington Nationals are up by 2 points. Just to give you a sports update for those sports people. If anybody cares.
I heard the idiot fans were chanting "Lock him up," talking about President
Trump yesterday, or one day this week. Yeah, this is the final game tonight. But yes, that's pretty pathetic.
You know, it's kind of amazing in watching all these things go on. You know, and that, you know, Dan, this whole VMAP2, you know, vaccine to basically basically the way I see it is this is a vaccine against free will. They call it the fun vac there. And I really think they have, released that because people are so thick about things. They don't even consider proof for anything. They don't even ask the question.
I know. I was just wondering if that wasn't already like part of what they've been feeding us in the food, or that they've been doing. Because it sounds like, everything's so apathetic about things. It's you try to explain this to certain people, and then they say you got to take action, you got to do something, and then they don't do anything. So do you think, is there something else that's keeping them from thinking that?
They're so gullible to the lies, but they're so wanting proof on the truth. So it just makes it backwards, right?
Well, and then think about the way, if you listen to the response that the Pentagon described, the scientist there, he said, you read a religious text, right? And it activated this part of this person's brain, right? And they define them as fanatic. It was a very small, little reaction, right? But most people who are devoutly religious or, really spiritual, they're not violent. They're love and peace and, love and light and, praise the Lord kind of people, right? But now here's the trick that I know has happened. I know this has happened in the, Islamic faith. I know they've done this. They did this with the Jesuits, right? Is that if they can activate it to be the reverse, right? Now, if you live in a culture that is predominantly Islamic, right? Now, Islamic is not a race. It is a religion. It's a choice, right, of faith. Now, if everyone around you is Islamic, and this is your family and these are people you love, right? And you've got to adapt, but the actual text makes you angry, right? You know what? The option would be you become a radical of some sort, right? Just like the Jesuits did, or, Jesuits are essentially the military. The military Jesuits, the Jesuit order, is all throughout every military in the world in the highest level of leadership. This is something that's gone on for hundreds of years, right? So they could take control of the military. The Rothschilds actually said outright to Kim that the military are our slaves. That's what they said. So that's how they feel about them. Now, if you knew you had them in control using something like a VMAX2 vaccine, because you took their fervor to protect their country, and now you basically switched it by shutting that off. Now they hear the same things they used to be so proud of, right? Now they hear it and they're angry and violent about it. That's exactly what's happening, right?
Right. And you know what? With the laws in place now, after all the 9/11 laws that came out after, they consider you a threat or a radical. They can pretty much jail you if you're considered a threat in that way.
Well, and what's amazing to me is, in my wildest dreams growing up, I never imagined anyone being anti-American. Now, you got people burning flags saying we were never great. Just craziness, right? They're twerking their butts off, right? Protesting the environment. Everything that's going on, it's like, what is happening, right? There's no even semblance of any kind of real ethics or real values that we do value, like human life, for example. Now, if you were able to, what it says in the actual clinical document is it talks about spiritual or religious connection, right? So they obviously understand it's not just radicals. It's a spiritual connection that's very different, right, than a physical, just a physical, fervent, fundamentalist, right? So if you think about it, and you were able to do that to somebody, and now all of a sudden they're hearing traditional values, they would have the same response, right? They would be mad about it because that's part of the religion, right? And they associate it with religion. So now you talk about, a man being a man, that's toxic, right? Men should be twerking in parades. That's wearing Daisy Dukes, right? That's less toxic, apparently, And that's really a battle going on, and something that I'm looking at and really asking myself, because they talk about this specifically in reference to the using the flu and the rhinovirus, the common cold, to administer this. So obviously, when you have the flu last year, if you got the flu vaccine, you were 6 times more likely, right, to actually get the flu. And then So imagine if they use the flu vaccine and they put some form or some version of this VMAT in there, it would explain a lot, because it's like it's like nobody's even making sense right now.
Right,
What do you need, right?
Yeah.
Or people conceding to the fact that we let babies, go full term at 9 months, and then we literally murder them. And nobody, I mean, there are some, but not enough people are up in arms or completely and totally disgusted by murdering a brand new baby. Like that to me is like off the charts, right?
Yeah, that's
we
why
we should stampeding those buildings that they're doing that in. We should be shutting them down. We should have military standing around them, in my opinion, with guns. Just,
I mean, it's the setup for child trafficking. Now this would not surprise me either, right? Because the Democrats are very big on getting the black vote, right? Mm-hmm. And they're constantly trying to portray it like they do them favors. So you take somebody like Candace Owens, right? And she, they'll attack her, call her all types of names. But I've watched that woman shut everybody down.
Right.
When she stands in that space. She was at a rap concert, and they did one of those, like, the big ooh moments, right? Where it goes, oh, right, and she goes, that wasn't an oh. He didn't say anything.
Right.
And she shut him down, and everybody respected it. But that's what it takes, right?
Right.
Is that you have to find a way to tap into that somehow to reactivate, the natural part of you that connects with the truth and integrity and love.
It's the truth.
Right.
Shining the light on the truth, bringing the truth forward, always does it, right? As soon as, the same thing with the trolls, right? Anyone that comes out on these broadcasts and they want to come into a room, come on and let's have a conversation, right? I'm going to open to listen to what you have to say. You got to be open to what I have to say, and the truth is going to come out when you confront it that way. Even if you go up against a con man, right, who's so good at spinning falsehoods, it still comes out in the conversation. Even if it's like the reverse speech, that people pick up on it, intuitively, they hear what's actually being said. So that's what we have to move forward. Hey, I did look it up though. New Zealand does have an extradition treaty.
see, I read it. They didn't just now. That their act did not agree to extradition. So I'm not getting. And somebody in your chat room said that New Zealand has already been set up for the deep state. So
I get that, but here it is. I'll put it back up.
So we're getting conflicting info.
Well,
did you use Google?
This is international.
all the vaults where the world's assets, right? And Kenneth Will, are, very, very far below, I guess, but it's deep within the earth underneath New Zealand. Right? So that's part of the reason why they think they're going to go there and access the vaults. Now, they tried to drill down to get to the vaults, and Earth Command shut them down, if I remember correctly, right? But I would also say this, as much as they might think they're safe there, keep in mind that you have the Maori there, right?
Right.
And the Maori is the biggest tribal group in the world still, right? So they're massive. They're everywhere. They're the most organized, nation basically in the tribal communities in the world, from what I understand, or at least they're a massive force to be reckoned with, right?
Right.
And they're all there in New Zealand as well, and Australia, and I guess in that area. So I would say, and I would imagine that the Maori are they're definitely one of the original tribes, right?
Right.
And so they have authority over the cabal. So the cabal going there, they might think it's safe.
Right.
But
I don't. The Maori decides. Yeah. Otherwise.
I'm looking through. I should share my screen so you guys can see this. Sorry, I should have done that already. But I'm presenting.
I think it is. I think it's on our screen.
It's. I guess it could be, but
it's not.
Okay, there you go.
Oh, I'm seeing it. Yeah.
You're seeing it on YouTube, so I'm showing it on YouTube. But here, this is the extradition.
Right.
So here's what they say are what you can be extradited for: murder, attempted covering crime of designated under the law of the United States as a result with the intent to commit murder, manslaughter, aggravated wounding, injuring, assault, um, wounding or injuring with intent to cause grievous bodily harm, unlawful throwing of application of any corrosive or injurious substances. And this one, I highlighted this one: rape, indecent result, sodomy, and then abortion.
Ooh.
Wow.
So
Wow.
that's interesting.
So they can be extradited for these reasons.
They can,
Wow.
yes. Unlawful sexual
This is really
acts.
amazing. You know, bigamy.
Well,
You know, wouldn't Ilhan Omar be guilty of bigamy?
Of
Abortion.
course.
I mean, here in the United States, it's like everybody's fighting for abortion.
well, this-
Unlawful throwing or application of any corrosive or injurious substance. I mean, that means we could extradite all of Antifa.
well,
That's amazing.
What about unlawful
well, look at this
sexual
one.
acts?
Yeah, well, this is unlawful sexual acts upon children under the age specified by the laws of both requesting and requested parties.
Right.
You know, procuring sexual intercourse. You know, all
They're
of
guilty.
these- yeah,
Those
all-
two right there will take them all down.
Yeah, this is you know the stuff. Willful abandonment of minor under age of 6 when the life of that minor is or is likely to be injured or endangered. You know, bigamy, kidnapping, robbery, burglary, larceny,
Child
embezzlement.
stealing, abduction. I think that's a big one. That'll put them away.
Yeah, yeah,
They're guilty. They're getting guilty
Yeah.
of all that stuff. So,
yeah.
but you know what? They probably didn't think they were going to get caught either, right? So they have their little tunnels set up with all their fake gold, and they think they're going to go be free.
Well, look at this. They always do the thing that to present themselves in the best light. Like in the Ukraine, the first thing they went there and did was set up, made them put up something to combat corruption, right? And then from there, and they put the most corrupt guy there, and from there they went ahead and stole $7 billion. Right? You know, all the U.S. politicians. So, but this is the same thing, right? And if New Zealand, well, if you were to pick New Zealand and say all the things that you're guilty of, you put out there, say we're against all of these things, right? and that's the extradition that they're going to allow to have happen because they never think that they're going to be extradited, except for the people that they want to have control over. Now,
It never applies to them, right?
Because
that's what it is. They don't want you interfering with their business, right?
Yeah.
So it's okay for them to do it, but not for you, right? That's really what you're witnessing right now in the United States, right? Is you're watching as everything they're doing. If the Republicans were doing the exact same thing, my gosh, they would be carrying President Trump out on, his head on a platter. I mean, the media would be going insane if he was conducting himself this way. I mean, they have dead to rights on everything. They have nonstop evidence of crimes that they're committing openly. It's not even hidden. The question is, like, who enforces the law, right? Like, why aren't there people there arresting these idiots?
Right.
It's almost like, the only hope that we look at, we're like, hey, look, this has got to be a setup because we're watching our enemy destroy themselves.
Right.
It gets worse every day with them.
Yeah. Oh, here's another good one. It's like knowingly without lawful authority making or having possession, instrument, tool, or machine adopted the intent for the counterfeiting of money. Whether
They're
coin,
in trouble. They're all going down.
Yeah.
Wow.
There's more: perjury, false swearing, arson, malicious acts done.
False swearing, yeah. So if you have foreign agents come in who swear an oath, right? Like,
right.
Is that what that means? I didn't really know what that means. Okay.
Oh, thanks for
Yeah,
explaining.
I don't think they mean like when you say freaking instead of using the real F word, right? That's not false swearing.
Yeah, I was wondering what that meant. I'm like, wow, I think we might be extradited too. Tank, you're in big trouble. I've heard you use the F word a few times. You're in big trouble if you go to New Zealand.
No, that's proper swearing.
That's proper application. If you're using it against a deep state, it doesn't count, right?
Yeah. So I just wonder, are they going to go? If you look at this other article, this is on Patriots patriotretort.com. This guy says, this is talking about Comey going to New Zealand. All of them are trying to go. Why would they go? Why wouldn't they go to a non-extradition country? And he said that if you read this, basically the only place that Comey is going is to prison. And they have a picture of him behind bars.
Yeah. Right? I think that's what he meant by his home in New Zealand. He's talking about the prison. Yeah, he's just trying to be cool about it, right? Save some face.
Right.
Yeah, and if
I've always told Tank, I think we should put them all on an island, surrounded by sharks, and then just leave them there. All the pedophiles, whatever they want to do to each other, just leave them there, surrounded by sharks. They can try to swim off or not.
that's one of my favorite things, to basically exile them to the island of pedophiles, right? Or
Right.
the pedivore island, right? So just go ahead and send them there. That would be the best result, I would say, to have.
Maybe Epstein Island, because who would want to buy that place and have that as a residence or even be on that island with all the...
Disney would.
Oh, Disney would.
Yeah,
well, we
make
could
it
put all
part
the
of-
Disney employees there as well. But
Yeah.
that's what I've always thought. I just always envisioned them on an
Yeah,
island
it was already
together surrounded by sharks.
It was already
So-
part of their tour, right? It was part of the
Right.
Disney tour, so they might as well just buy the island now.
Yeah, you're right. Oh, Tank, you're going to love this. Kamala Harris to cut staffing and restructure her campaign to deal with mounting cash shortage.
Yes.
Mounting cash shortage seems like an oxymoron, just like Kamala Harris being president.
Right.
It makes sense. Yeah. I think a good move on her part would be or what she'll probably end up doing, right? Kind of like Maxine Waters took $56,000 and give it to her daughter for her house, from her campaign donations.
Mm-hmm.
But yet she's going to attack President Trump because President Trump's going to get them killed. Which I kind of feel like, Trump kind of called his shot. He kind of called his shot on that one, right? He kind of pulled a babe on that one, right? He said, I'm going to drain the swamp, right? And then he gets in there and he does exactly that. And while Maxine Waters is dripping with visceral hatred and, her face is melting off because she's so angry all the time, and she's throwing nothing but, she's encouraging violence against Trump supporters, and they're attacking white people all the time just for being white or having, breeding or dating a white person, right?
Right.
They're all attacking this, and then they're saying, you're racist because you wear a red hat. So ridiculous. So ridiculous.
I think she might view herself as a swamp creature. That's why she's, upset.
I wonder if they realize that they've been tricked just like the bull in the arena. That when they see the red hat, they're so ignorant. I mean, like they're such not even ignorant. Excuse me. They're in such a trance that they see it and they immediately have feelings of racism that they don't realize were planted in their head not by President Trump,
Right.
but by people who don't want you to make America great because they want to make America
Gone.
the deep state, right?
They want to make it disappear so that they can basically have their own little kingdoms over their little territories, the 5 different regions. So they're just selling this out, and that's what people have to wake up to, right? And that's the simplest thing for most people to realize, that the money side, getting to that deeper, ugly side of it, how they kept their power through this, ritualistic, pedivorism. It's so much so harder for people to comprehend. They'll open up to it, but only after they've taken that first step to say it's all about the money, right?
Right.
Well, it's interesting though right now. Part of the genius of what's happening that I see is that this is how people are in general, right? It's I refer to it as the dramatic pause, right? You say something really profound, and then you stop talking, right? And you just let someone repeat what you just said in their own voice, in their own head. Because people only believe what they hear from themselves in their own head, right? They have to repeat it to themselves. So when you're throwing a lot of information at people, it's best to just pause for a minute and just let them absorb what you said, right? So if you look what's happening with the government, right? If you just started, eradicating things and changing things for people, people wouldn't embrace it. But this way, the way they're doing it, as even people who are devoutly really dedicated to the globalist cause to become socialists, right? Even those people right now are have got to be looking at this going, we might have made a bad choice here, right? Because it's playing out so publicly, it's so ridiculous. Every time you turn around, you can't just say it's conspiracy that President Trump, he literally released, right? They tried to say that President Trump lied 96 times the other day, right? 96 false. And the things they said, they're not false. He did put out the transcript. This other guy wanted to change it, right? Who was a traitor to Ukraine, right? And he basically said he tried to change the transcript. They tried to pin it on Trump that he didn't, give the whole transcript. But he had it ready within days of them making the accusation. I mean, like instantly. Here to go, right?
Right.
So, and even if the information this guy wanted to change was in there, it still wouldn't have damned President Trump. And you know what? Here, I got something. This is finally. I feel like this is long overdue. Go ahead, man.
I was just say that literally Trump said with that move, checkmate, and they're just screaming as much as they can about, hey, the game is already over, right? They can't even see it. It was checkmate at that point, but they still continued with all of the rest of this, right? They can't win, right? Even though they're trying to maneuver it in every which way, it's going to end tomorrow. Looks like to me.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and now I have to give it up to Rudy Giuliani.
Yes.
Rudy Giuliani, he really took this to heart with the Sun Tzu Art of War, right? He was on the attack, then they came back, and he didn't really lay low. That's just what they said. They just started burying all of the things he was doing. They wouldn't the networks wouldn't interview him to try to make it look like he was cowering and hiding, but that wasn't true. But now, this is the first lawyer I have heard actually reference the Constitution. I mean, it's of any kind of prominence, right? So, frenzied Dems proposed impeachment based on President Trump acting under Article 2, Section 3 of our Constitution, the law of the land, asking for an investigation of serious crime committed in 2016 that did great damage to the U.S. and the Ukraine. Dems are covering up because it's bigger than you think. Mm-hmm. Now,
wow.
Good job, Rudy Giuliani. Way to rep the NYC, man. I am so proud of him right now. I'm sure he has a dodgy history, but this is just evidence. When you look at people like Lindsey Graham and Rudy Giuliani, who even said like they're involved in something corrupt, and I don't know that. I'm just saying, I think that was, we would probably draw that same conclusion for the most part, right?
Oh, right.
But when given the opportunity to do the right thing, to stand up for the right cause, probably, having their videotape of them doing something terrible buried, right, and destroyed. You know what? They're doing it. They're demonstrating for anybody who is involved in that level of corruption. They're demonstrating, look, you can change sides, you can be a good guy, and the people will love you for it. Mm-hmm. No, we love Giuliani for that. I mean, I like Giuliani as the mayor, but we all suspected he was corrupt. But he's still a good mayor by comparison. Lindsey Graham, I have nothing but negative things to say about Lindsey Graham. I love Lindsey Graham right now, even though I know he was dodgy just now. So the point is that by making that decision to be like, I'm going a different path because I love humanity, I want to change the world, and I want to be a part of that, right? And whatever that, I mean, good for them,
I think it takes more bravery, Tank, to do that, and it's more admirable to see. You've done that. You did that with the RV, right? You said I was wrong, and you switched. You went on a whole new path. And I think there's nothing greater to see in someone's character that's willing to admit, I was wrong. I made a mistake, and I want to change. I think that's like the most admirable trait a man can have.
Dan did the same thing.
Yeah, and I always say it's good to be happy about admitting your mistakes. Move forward in it and embrace it and love it, right? And say, great, I'm so glad to find out I was wrong.
I've learned.
Yeah, I've learned. I move forward.
Yeah.
And I'm not even as pious as Dan is about it. I'm not happy I was wrong, but I'm glad I'm right. And now
ultimate goal there is to get back to being right? You were right before.
But I mean, because think about it, because everything I did before, now this is true. I wouldn't even tell people. I didn't even have my own conference call, right? But if I came on a conference call, we'd have 2,000 people who'd get on the call. I mean, just instantly. I remember I got reports from people, and I would get back all of my intel in like 6 different languages because it was being translated all over the world.
Wow.
We had one of our calls, and I remember somebody telling me, that hit 1 million people. I said, no way. We can't even hardly get our videos to get over 1,000 now, right? And what the content we're putting out is better. The quality of the message is so much better, right? The actual production is better. Everything we're doing is better. And you know what? My message, as far as like standing up for humanity and the core value of what I was saying, it hasn't changed.
Right.
So you'd think, wouldn't it still be popular? But here's the difference. Then I was unwillingly being used as an asset for the deep state.
Right.
They were feeding me intel. I thought it was true. I put it out.
Right.
So they allowed me to grow. They allowed me to be,
They promoted you.
You were promoting their message. They loved you, Tate. No shadow banning. They probably added numbers to your numbers just to keep you.
Yeah, I mean, think about it now. Now this happens to me. I don't know if you guys are seeing this, but on Twitter, I'll go in to Twitter and I'll see something. I'm like, oh wow, and I'll go to read it. And if I don't do it that second, it'll disappear, and I won't be able to find it from someone else. My own tweets, I watch this happen every single day because I'm always tagging up everybody. I'm always tagging up Hillary Clinton, AOC, and all these different, quacks. And I watch. I mean, I'd say 1 out of 10 of them gets posted even to my own page because they shut them down. They will not let it go. If there's a certain combination of things, the algorithm just cuts it. But I'm like, really, we're so small. You'd think, why are we even a factor? Why are you even paying attention to what we're doing? They won't even acknowledge us in their, like they came out, what was it? Abel Dangerous tried to discredit Kim, using Bubba's website, right? So Bubba is like this guy who attacked, he's just a troll, right? He attacked us on Twitter. He claims he's part of something else. He set up a whole website dedicated to slamming Kim. One of his main guys is this guy who attacked, me in my email, right? In the same email that I read that one day, he's going to destroy me with the powers of his mind, whatever, right? And his website, and Bubba doesn't even have a picture or a real name for that matter, right? So you can't attack Bubba because Bubba's not real. Bubba literally is a picture of a beer belly, right? That's Bubba. Right. So now here you have this really credible guy, Abel Danger, Bill McConnell, who came out and he's the guy who really brought a lot of attention to 9/11, right? And he's been working to allegedly, to help kids, right? And he's got some credibility, right?
Pentagon Task Force or something, right?
Yeah, right. And he's a Marine, or he was a Marine, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think he was a colonel even, right? So I mean, the guy's respectable in a lot of ways. He's done a lot of good things, is my point, right? Mm-hmm. And this guy, he was given a directive, probably, or he took it upon himself, let's say, to discredit Kim, which was ignorant on his part, right? Because his best reference was Bubba. He used Bubba to discredit Kim. And he used something from the Ripoff Report, which, by the way, anybody can put something into the Ripoff Report. The guy who runs the Ripoff Report, he blackmails people all the time. So you call the Ripoff Report, and you're like, I want you to take it down. It's not true. And he'll say, give me $5,000, I'll take it down. That's what he does.
Right.
He's the ripoff. Now, I know that for a fact from people that are not even associated in this world at all, right? So anything like that with those kind of guys. So then another website that's just like the Ripoff Report, they take the report from the Ripoff Report and then they use it to create their articles, right? Now you have 2 sources.
Right.
It's the mainstream alternative scam media, right? They are the scam, right? Now I know I'm listed on there. I think Dan, I think they threw your name in the mix there. Kim's on there. To be honest, if you're on there, probably it's the opposite.
Even Chewy, they even put Chewy on that. I'm not on there yet because I don't show my face, so they don't really care. But TUI, really? They're going to throw TUI under the bus?
I know.
Right?
You know,
You know,
TUI is out there, known scammer, trying to make people love each other.
Yeah, scam, total scam. We all love each other way too much.
I always ask them, what's a scam again? What is exactly a scam?
Yeah.
Please explain it to me.
Dan Lutz,
I'd like to know.
known as running his major scam to collect over $100 every 3 months on YouTube.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, Dan Lutz, anybody out there trying to, like, I hate when people attack if people want to attack me, like, go for it. Go ahead.
Right.
Go ahead. I don't even read your stuff. I can care less. You know what I hate? I hate when they attack my people, right? Like, people who I know have done good things at great expense to themselves. You know, Dan had his own YouTube channel before we started talking, and it was doing great. That's where his 13,000 followers come from.
Until we came in, and his numbers are probably lower now.
Well, no, I had
Then he started talking to me, and now every time I come on, he doesn't make money. You know, and still, where he is every day, he's talking to me. Without fail, he shows up.
So I had about 11,000 subscribers when we started this, right? So we did gain, a couple thousand in that first.
Which was like 260 some days ago, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Better part of a year, two-thirds of a year. Okay.
2/3 of a year, and I've been doing it, and I've been doing it for 3 years. So now I'm doing more videos, and you can see that the result is quite a bit less. I was doing more video. I was doing videos I'd have a run of 90 days, and I'd do a video every day. But I did that once, and I did one for 30 days, and I do 6 to 10 videos a month. Right, so it's a mix-up, right? But my channel kept growing. And then when we started this, and I said, oh well, okay, we're getting now some good response. We had 200 people a day starting to join. And
now
then
you're stuck at 13,000.3.
Oh yeah, no, it was really funny to watch. I mean, I'd actually watch my numbers, right, where the people were actually coming into the room, right, and my numbers are decreasing. Right, I go and check my number, and so I said it made no sense, right? People don't go and unsubscribe, right? They don't really make it
by
part
the
of
thousands.
by the thousands or even by the dozens. I mean, it's hard to lose a subscriber, right? Normally, you lose a subscriber, I think, because they took down their YouTube channel, they deleted it or something like that. You lose them that way. But no, you get and these are people that have Gmail accounts. Basically, when you look at it, it's like people just don't go and how do you do it, right? That's review. It's like if you want to unsubscribe, you then have to figure out how to.
Right. It took them long enough to figure out how to subscribe. Now they don't even know how to unsubscribe.
Yeah. Now it's really you just go back to the same button you click, but people don't even know, right? They say, well, how would I unsubscribe? So anything that they're doing about taking away members, and now after we complained about it, right, for a couple of weeks, we're talking about it, right? Now it inches up. Right.
Well, what's funny is about a month ago, I'm like, Tank, all of our shows are hitting 1,000 viewers, right? And then it actually showed those numbers, and we haven't been talking about it, I think, the last few weeks. And they're down to we got 369 views, we got 450 views. Maybe on a great show we get, 800. But our numbers are decreasing by the day.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what? And I know why they're doing that, because when your show goes over 1,000, then you can actually speak up and they'll listen to it. So they're trying to keep our numbers under 1,000 all the time, right?
So, I didn't know that.
But I know because I get contacted by people from everywhere. I'm like, how did you see our show? Because only 171 people saw that.
Yeah, and 1,000 people have contacted me over it.
And my mom watched it 3 times from different computers, so it's like...
Yeah, we're pretty bad. What's interesting, Tank and I have talked about this off air a few times, is that, a lot of people are talking about some of the stuff we're talking about. Like somebody will talk about CPS, somebody else will talk about vaccinations, somebody else will talk about, whatever else, right? And we're talking about all of it, and we're bringing solutions. And who else is doing that? Where else can they listen to what we're doing?
Right.
Across the board, the universal solution that everyone gets behind is sit back and enjoy the show. And while you're here, buy a flashlight, right? So now we don't do that, right? And I'm amazed. I'm like, I know that people are listening and whatever, just because of the random contacts I get. I'm like, but it's one of those things where I really am looking, and excited to see, the message, like the idea, right, of all these different people, this powerful message who want to change the world, to get that out into the public in a way where people are inspired. Because I know when I talk to somebody one-on-one and I tell them what we're doing and what we're about and why we're doing it, I watch them change from just feeling, desperate and lonely to
Right.
immediately realizing they're not alone, and watching them get so inspired to know that even exists.
Right.
So as you get that message out, it's one of those things that it's so exciting. Who wouldn't want to be a part of it?
Right.
I was talking to this lawyer today. Now, attorneys in generally, like, they make decent money, right? And I was talking to, now, anybody knows this. Like, so far, if you talk to me, you probably don't make decent money anymore, right? With almost anything. I'm like the way it's been until funding comes in. When people get associated with me, like, all of a sudden a lot of them stop working, or because they're like, oh, there's a better way or something, or they start getting targeted, or they cancel products, and this happens all the time, right?
Right.
And it's designed to isolate me, right? Not them, right? Like, don't associate with that guy because you lose money. So, but this woman was talking about it, and she was an engineer, Dan, and then became an attorney. And she was a very successful engineer, but she didn't feel like she was living like her life's purpose, right? And she became an attorney because she knew she had to have an impact. I'm like, you were made for us. We were waiting for you, right? But that's what I'm saying, because purpose, when you're driven by purpose, when you have a purpose that is bigger than just money,
Right.
you might need money to get there, but money will never be your purpose, because your life has more value than any dollar amount could put on it.
If money is
What you do has no value.
if money is your purpose, then your life has no value.
That's right. I talk
And
to
you're
my
not
kids about this all the
fulfilled.
time.
At the end of the day,
Right.
you're not fulfilled. You don't go home feeling like, I know so many people that have jobs that they hate, or they're making a ton of money and they can't afford to quit, right? But they don't know anything else. And they don't have any real fulfillment in their life where they're like, I've changed the world or affected the world. The world is in any way better because of me. And for me, I want to feel fulfilled. I want to feel like there's a difference being made. And I think probably all the people on our network feel that way, right? Like, they want to be here to help and
Right.
to make a difference.
Yeah, 100%.
And if we make money doing it, that's even better. Right?
I'm all for
I
that.
remember when I was 25 years old, I got offered a job in Manhattan, and I swear it reminded me like a scene out of like that movie Devil's Advocate. Because I mean the top floor of this, I think it was they might have been like CGI with the company or something like that, right? And they were like computer like solutions, right, for companies, and you sold huge things. And I would have made $400,000 to like $700,000 a year, which would have been more than I probably made since then. Like, so,
Collectively, yeah.
yeah, right. So no, I know it's not, but I mean, but still, it was a ton of money, right? And there was unlimited potential. I mean, you could make as much money as you wanted, and they recruited me so hard, and it was so enticing. And I remember being like, I'm going to have kids. I didn't even have kids yet. I didn't have kids for another 4 years.
Wow.
But I was like, I'm going to have kids, and this job is a soul eater. I knew it, right? And I knew I'd be great at it too. I could tell I would adapt to it. But I'm like, nothing else in my life will exist. This is all I'll be. I'll be this computer solution salesman for the rest of my life, and I'll have money, and I'll have nothing but problems and anguish and bad health and misery. And that was the best decision I ever made. And I became a teacher. I mean, I think my beginning salary was $38,000 a year.
Yeah, and then once you're in it, Tank, like, you buy the house, you buy the cars, you put the kids in private school, and then you can't afford to quit.
Right.
Right?
It's a path to the dark side.
Yes. And so I think that was a great decision. I was a single mom. I had no alimony, no child support, struggling. really, really struggling. And I remember I got my insurance license. My ex-husband said to me, I'm going to pay your bills for 3 months and then you're on your own. And I was married for 10 years and ran his business, started his business for him. And I'm like, oh God, what am I going to do? So when I got my insurance license, and I did very well, just out of complete and total desperation. I'm like, I got to make money next week. They're like, oh, it doesn't happen that fast. I'm like, no, it's going to happen. I was at our schools, right? And so I remember them getting really upset and saying, because I was an independent contractor, you need to come to the meetings on Monday. And I'm like, I'm not coming to any meetings on Monday. There is no way. Like, I'm a mom. I got a kid. And I know what I can do in the field. And I started making a ton of, I started doing very well. And they wanted me to come to meetings. And I said no. And they offered me all these advancements. Well, you can be a manager. You can do this. You can override all these people in the insurance industry. And I just said, you know what? I don't know that they can make money. I know what I can do. And I just turned them all down because it would have taken all of my time to babysit all these adults that maybe weren't going to ever do anything. And I would have been poorer than I was already. Right? So I just kept working independently, and I just kept saying, no, I don't want to be a manager. I just want to go home. I want to work, make my money, and go home. Yep. And I worked from home. I had my own business, and it just wasn't worth it. And I was so broke, I couldn't miss a beat, right? I just couldn't do it. So I had to do it. And so that's what I did. So good for you, Tank, that you didn't take that.
Oh, good for you. Listen,
you were a parent, though, but you weren't even a parent, and you were a man, which I think is 10 times harder because men are expected to take those jobs, right? They're expected to make the money at any sacrifice.
Yeah.
And the fact that you weren't a parent is huge because men sometimes never get that idea that maybe they shouldn't take that job. And if they do, their kids are grown and it's too late, right? When they realize maybe I shouldn't have taken that job. So good for you.
You know what? There's nothing I've ever done that's more valuable and more important than being a dad. So.
Agreed. As a parent, yeah. I'm not a dad, but as a mom, I can totally relate.
My kids are magic. It's what they are trying to destroy right now of humanity. It's one of the greatest. It is the greatest tragedy in the history of humanity. What they tried to do, and they are successful in a lot of cases with a lot of people, right? That and it's funny. I was thinking about this. How I remember Prince before he died, right? He or I don't know if he actually died, but before he was taken out.
Took him out. Yeah.
Right? Now Prince was on television talking about how they would put chemtrails over black neighborhoods, right? And all of a sudden you had everybody agitated and uncomfortable, fighting with each other, right? On purpose.
Right.
And designed to do that, right? And wallowing in this. And I couldn't help but think about this when they were talking about putting this VMAT2 vaccine in the car exhaust. I'm like, oh my God.
Oh my.
That is diabolical, right? But Prince was talking about it. I know for a fact. Now, I'm not your, typical white guy, let's say, right? Like I have no problem talking about race, right? Because I was part of a religion for 20 years where I traveled the country preaching everywhere, and every place I went, I was the only white guy there, right? So all my best friends, like people that have been my family, and still are, they're like family to me, for 20 years was all black culture, and black culture from every state, in the country. So all different kinds of black culture, right? So now in this, when we were talking about the abortions that Delise talked about earlier, now you're talking about a 40-week abortion. You've had now 40 weeks of a living being moving inside of you, right? I mean, this is not a small experience. This is the most profound experience women ever go through. The first baby they ever have, to have life living there, and its only comfort is your heart, right? That baby listens to your voice, your heart, the voice of the father, right? It's magical. There is nothing I have ever seen more attractive to me in my entire life than when my wife was pregnant. I fell in love with her all over again. I mean, because it was like, this woman is carrying my seed, right? It's like this is the most beautiful thing on the planet.
Right.
Now, here I am in a conversation and this has happened to me, and it's only happened directly with people in New York from black communities that I talk to, and somehow we got this conversation, deep conversation about abortion, and about specifically this law they passed to allow abortions to take place at 40 weeks when baby's fully developed. And in both cases, it got loud, right? And they were so surprised in this conversation because they were used to just kind of raising their voice, and thinking that, it's a white guy who's going to get scared and back down, right? But I just had a conversation with them because I realized I'm not afraid of that. I'm used to that, right? But what's amazing is I couldn't believe, like, these are two black people, and they were totally all about that you should be able to do abortions no matter what. No matter if the baby comes out alive, they should kill it. He said this to me, one of my black friends said, they said they should kill the baby. Because the last thing he goes, you don't know what it's like to be black. And I'm like, oh my goodness. You know what I do know? You know what you don't know? You don't know what it's like to be a black baby just brought into the world, ripped from your mother's womb, and then killed and left to die. That much, that has nothing to do with race. That has to do with being human. Well,
right.
I mean, human race. It has nothing to do with the teaspoon of melanin that separates the difference.
Yeah, there's only one race on the planet that's, well, I mean, rephrase that. But that's human, right? There's not like, it's just because you have more melanin, doesn't make you a different race. And that's the divisions, right? That they continue to trying to divide us.
Now, I'll say this too, because if you want to understand God, look at your body, right? If you want to understand spirituality, or you want to understand high power, or you want to understand anything about the universe, right? Go inside. But I mean, literally, you can look at the physiology of your body and the way your body functions and operates, and the biology down to the microorganisms in it, and you will be able to better understand what's happening all around you. Because your body influences everything around you, and it also reflects everything around you. So we were talking to Robert Vaughn today, and I was I just love talking to the guy. Yes. Because he's doing real research. He's been in depth on a million different topics. He understands how the body works. He understands how he's looked at and examined things on a microscopic level to see how they function. And you know what? In all these conversations we've had with him, right, and all the listening I've done, all the different methodologies he describes in his recipes and stuff that we have, you know what? This is what strikes me. In the body, one of the most important things, right? If you want the body to thrive, what's essential? There is all of these tiny little nutrients and minerals and cellular components and astral cells and pyramid cells and all these different things that have a function and a role to play in your body for the greater good of you as a whole. And every cell in your body has come together and they've unified around the greatest good to keep you alive. And their job is to do that. And as long as you give them all the diversity that is possible, you give them all the different kind of, they used to say like all the different colors of fruits and vegetables, and you stay away from poison. Now, as long as you do that, your body will just keep on living, and it'll thrive. And the same holds true for our entire society. Right now, our entire society, what we are is we are divided. Now, in the body, if you want your body to die, you put elements in it that poison it. And what those poisons always do is they divide you from other parts of the body that are different. Yeah. They divide the cells. They allow parasites in. They allow things to come in that shouldn't be there, and they separate themselves from things that should be. Now, that is exactly what's happened in our world. We've been divided by parasites that cannot produce their own energy. They can't do anything for themselves, so all they do is devour us. So they feed us a bunch of poison, right? They poison us with lies. They poison us with, with literal poison, right? All types of chemicals. And it weakens us. And that allows us to let in parasites that we think are our friends, right? And we know they're not friends at first, but after a while we just accept them. And it destroys us from the inside out. And the way he described some of this stuff, he was talking about parasites. Now, parasites getting into the cells, right? Blood cells, in the red blood cells, and blowing them up, right? From the inside out, like a suicide bomber.
Yeah.
And forcing all these free radicals to fire out in different directions inside your body. Just like a shrapnel bomb, right? And I thought about that. That's exactly
the methodology they've used throughout the entire world to divide all of us. And but what he talked about before that was he was talking about the white blood cells. The white blood cells would show up to the red blood cell that was healthy, and it would just kind of knock on the door of the red blood cell. And it knocked twice, the red blood cell would let it in. It'd go in, it'd bring oxygen in, it would clean it all out, and it would leave, go out the other side. The same white blood cell would see cancer, and the white blood cell would change its shape to like a tip of a spear, and it would attack the cancer. It's cancer, a hard-headed cell, right? And it would destroy it, right? And then all these little interactions like that in the body. Then he took something like canola oil, and you know what? Canola oil is a combination of rape seed, not grape, rape,
Right.
R-A-P-E, rape
Right.
seed, and mustard seed split and combined together, right? And it's so dangerous for your body that it will go into the cells, surround the red blood cells, right? Because all the cells have oil around them, surround the cell, and make it so the good things can't get in, right? Like the white blood cell can't get in. But when the parasites come, the parasites can get in much easier. But then you take something like flaxseed, and it'll do the exact opposite, right? Because one is good for you, one is bad. Now, everything in the whole world works that way. And I would compare the canola oil like that's like cane. It's like entertaining hate, right? And putting hate in your body, you know, and constantly feeding on hate, constantly feeding on lies, constantly feeding on revenge, and, you know, all these things, all these low-frequency things, they weaken you, and they make you more susceptible to parasites to come in and feed on you. Now you hate everybody. And now all you do is just complain about how bad things are. All you talk about is what's wrong with the world, but you ain't doing anything to make it right. But all you gotta do is have some flaxseed oil. You can change your whole life, right? It's that simple, and it will completely transform you and create a brand new you. And I mean literally, you can create a brand new body if you just have the right pieces. And
Right.
it's just like
he
it's
gives
just
5
like
pieces. There are 5 pieces he talks about, and we did a show with him tonight. It was amazing. We have to upload it. Tank.
Tell them 5 pieces.
Okay, so the 5 pieces: vitamins, minerals, and your body cannot even accept anything else if it doesn't have the proper minerals, right? Enzymes, fats, and I can't read my own writing. So I can't tell you what the 5th one
It's not grains.
Do you remember?
It's not grains.
No, it's not grains, which is a whole nother topic, right, Jake?
Right. He was saying that we done the right way. Oh my gosh, yeah, I can't even repeat some of the things he said because they were actually proprietary. We were in there. They'll come out later, but I will say because some of the stuff we stopped recording to talk about, and we're actually calling him right after this too.
Yeah, so we probably can't stay on much longer because we got to call him before he goes to bed.
But I would say this now, if you think about it, right? Now we also put out. Now we're putting these videos out for everyone, and I hope people realize these topics are not separate. The things that we're talking about on the Speak Project and Create Change and Dan and Frontlines and all of this, these are all one topic. It's how we liberate and empower humanity. That is what we're doing. And if you just go in and look at those things, you'll realize that as you're learning about the human body, it's teaching you about what's happening every day in your life. And it literally, they go together. I mean, Dr. Ryan, who put out this video, the chiropractor, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, he is a chiropractor and an acupuncturist, right? And they're one. Really, chiropractic is acupuncture in like China or Japan, whatever, right? I mean, Chinese. So he was explaining it. Now, think about the principle, how simple it is. It doesn't have to be complicated. If your spine is in proper alignment, your body can heal anything. This man said he can teach this to anyone, right? And by the way, we already made sure, this is one of our product owners who we're bringing in, and we're going to have him go around to all the Create Change wellness centers, right? We set up all over the country and the world, you know, and he's going to teach people, regular people, how to identify the source of the issue, right? Just use basic kinesthesiology, right? And by the way, I know when other chiropractors hear this, they're like, well, I've been doing that for a long time. I know you have been. I believe you. Come do it for us. Or, you know, come show us how to do it. Now, what he's doing that I've never heard anybody say, he said, I can teach this to anybody, and you don't need to be a chiropractor to do it. And he said, I can get rid of PTSD instantly. Man, that's profound.
Right.
Right.
You know how many people are suffering with PTSD? This man can get rid of it instantly.
It's
I mean,
amazing.
the things that we are able to reach out and touch and we can do together, if we just stop making it a competition, right? It's not about us versus you, right? It's about humanity being one collective body. And all of us are like cells in that body. And if we all just play our part, the body will thrive. And that is the goal. I'm just excited about that.
So will our minds. Our minds will thrive too.
I'm kind of including that, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, yeah, but I know, just like, and yeah, and energetically we'll meld together.
Sometimes.
I love that.
I was gonna say, sometimes you chime in.
Yeah.
And sometimes Lisa says something too.
Once in a while.
But even in this, now this is what I love, right? Every one of those cells, it maintains its integrity and personal identity, right? Each one of those is a nucleus, a nucleolus, and a cell body, right? It's there all by itself. It's its own being. It's just playing a part, right? Now all of us are the same. You can still be an individual. You don't have to become part of the board, right? Be part of the collective, which is how some of these different galactic groups kind of translate things. But you can be an individual, be the most incredible, outstanding, amazing, exceptional version of you. And be that and show us all what you're doing so we can be better too. There's a scripture in the Bible that says, allow your progress to be shown to all. Be made known to all. Right? So in other words, there's nothing wrong with being exceptional and then go ahead and being outspoken, being proud of it. Go ahead. Nothing wrong with that. Get rid of all the shame they try to bury us with, make us feel bad about being white or a man or American. They have all those things. Not shame any of them.
You should feel really bad right now.
I know. I'm toxic. I'm American. Apparently, I'm racist. I mean,
way too massive.
Try to throw that bullshit into something in the comments. Listen, I'm telling you, I'm going to run for some political office, and I swear, I can't wait for the day that one of those idiots tries to throw some of that bullshit at me. Please. I am underwhelmed by your mediocrity. I will not be intimidated because you are racist and you're trying to put your own racist views on me. My God. Right. We can just do better, is my point. And I think everybody's doing great. I'm just saying, it's exciting that we can do better. It's exciting.
I'm excited.
It is.
We're already doing better. we are so far ahead now. We've already won, and waiting for tomorrow, the big boom. What will it be? I think.
Tomorrow's, man. All of our power is in right now. All of our power is in right now. So I'm not waiting for tomorrow.
Oh, well, I'm already in tomorrow, so there.
That's right. You already are in tomorrow. That's right. You're right. Okay, good point. You got it.
I'm just doing that for your benefit, because you're dead behind.
Thanks, man. Thanks. You all catch up.
Yeah, I was going to say, he's waiting for us. He's just ahead of us all.
I love it.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
I don't play that.
Well, I think we're good then. We set and ready to go for tomorrow?
I am. I'm definitely ready.
Okay, good.
Thank you, everybody. Dan, thank you as always. I appreciate it. Sometimes Lisa, appreciate you coming on. Sometimes.
Thank you guys so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
And I love to catch today's show on the Speak Project. So.
Yeah, it was a good one. I'll send it to you, Dan, in case you don't know how to find it.
Yeah, please. No, it's good. It's good. It's good.
I'll send it to you.
In case you lost your way.
Yes.
All right. Everybody have a good night.
All right,
Good night, guys.
Goodbye,
Bye.
everyone.